Sacagawea relates to the essential understanding 6 because her story is not directly told by her, but rather authors and storytellers. Through history, the legend of Sacagawea grows and empowers all people of all races. She is seen as an advocate, a mother, and a princess, as her story is told. Sacagawea, Sacagawea, Janie, or even Birdwoman. No matter who she is to you, she sheds some sort of importance. But why? All she did was accompany Lewis and Clark and the Corps of Discovery on their adventure out west in the conquest of Manifest Destiny. That is it. This is all we know of the only full-blooded native on the journey. Over the past 200 years, we have seen to come up with stories creating this legend of Sacagawea. In the book Swifters, Native American Women's Lives by Donna Barbie, she studies the creation of our American legend Sacagawea. As we know, Sacagawea is the only mentioned in the journals of Lewis and Clark, very seldomly, about 15 times, and they mostly refer to her as a squaw, or the Indian woman. Yet we come up with all these stories portraying who she is and what she did, and also what she may represent. On the journey, she gave birth to her son, Jean-Baptiste Charbonneau, and she was married to Toussaint Charbonneau, who also accompanied Lewis and Clark on this journey. However, they weren't too fond of him, but they needed him due to his translation abilities. The reason of translation is why they were asked to come in the first place. Others argue that having a woman indicated that their group wasn't a war party. However, the main reason was that they knew they would need horses when they met up with the Shoshone Indians, and they knew the Shoshone Indians had them. So if they could have a Shoshone-speaking woman, that would be even better. Sacagawea was also a tool for the expedition, and was treated as such at points throughout the expedition. Lewis was the one to refer to her as such in his journals, while Clark did so, but at one point acknowledged her usefulness. The Indian woman who has been great service to me as a pilot through this country. She also stood out when a whale washes up on shore while they are camped at Fort Clatsop in Oregon. She was very persistent to see the big fish after traveling all this way. She wasn't allowed to go at first, then she was included. She also was included to vote on where they set up camp. This is the first documentation in which a Native American woman and a black man vote in a democratic way in the United States. That is about it of what we have from this epic journey, where this is the only documented existence of Sacagawea. She merely just fades away as a legend. Her children, however, survive to be educated by William Clark, but that is another story. Our story, however, is one based of Sacagawea and her legend. Throughout history, we have developed a noble tale around her, attaching terms such as Indian princess to her name. Rightfully so, since her brother was a chief. However, we did not know. Almost 100 years after the journey, these tales arose of her being a noble woman, leading the Corps of Discovery to their conquest of Manifest Destiny. Sacagawea gave women hope and promise, showing what women could achieve. In 1902, Eva Emery Dye, an activist in the women's suffrage movement, published her account of Sacagawea in The Conquest, the true story of Lewis and Clark. She created Sacagawea to be a living entity, making her a princess, coming home to her mountain kingdom, having actions to at least attest her true nobility. With a baby on her back, she was able to conquer everything, empowering women that they too can conquer anything. During this so-called progressive era, she became an icon for expansionism as well as suffrage. In 1905, the Federated Women's Clubs of North Dakota initiated a campaign to erect a monument to honor Sacagawea. In 1910, 5,000 people gathered to see the monument, Birdwoman, made of bronze by Leonard Conrell. Up until this point, Fewer than 11 works about Lewis and Clark were published before 1905. Over 200 came in the next 7 decades, each embracing the legend of Sacagawea. By the 1940s, she became a focal point as an American heroine. The young girl who was just accompanying Lewis and Clark on a journey became more. She fell hopelessly in love with her heroic captains, and writers, both male and female alike, said that she was motivated by the love all along. In Donald Peaty's Forward the Nation, he talked about civilizing the continued as America moved westward. It also moved forward. He established that Sacagawea was not a common squaw, but rather beautiful by the white standards. Here, her appearance was only part of her nobility, but rather the love she gave to America as it moved westward with her. During this time, World War II was taking place, and women were taking unfeminine jobs, just like Sacagawea did, out of the love for men, rather the love for their country. By devoting themselves to these jobs, women were just like Sacagawea, devoting herself to Lewis and Clark. Sacagawea was becoming more an advocate of present time. In Sacagawea of the Shoshones, Della Gould Emmons portrays Sacagawea as an exponential heroine with a pretty luminous face. A lighter-skinned native was brought to life as she saved the expedition several times, while Clark prayed to God that we will always remember Sacagawea. Not only did Emmons bring forth this heroine, but she embraced the love story between Sacagawea and William Clark. However, through her work, Emmons emphasized that women could excel in male roles without sacrificing their femininity. Her efforts reached this with a screenplay in 1955, The Far Horizon. In the 1940s, the United States began turning away from the extinction of natives to assimilating with them, leaving the Euro-American society to the Native American princess Sacagawea, a story of the past. Yet authors like Petit and Emmons upheld these cultural perceptions. They made Sacagawea human, but the others thought race made her savage. During the 70s and 80s, the Sacagawea legend remained vital as it changed with times. Most of the stories justified westward expansion and the brutal treatment of Native Americans. However, in 1989, Sacagawea, a brave and noble heroine, revealed the continued attraction of the Indian princess and frontier myths. She is used as an image for women in the United States of America, with red, white, and blue incorporated with her. She becomes this empowering image, a bold, brave Indian woman who helped lead this great nation to manifest destiny. The thought of women empowerment continued through works like Sacagawea by Anna Lee Waldo, who molded Sacagawea's story to that of one of romance, Waldo making a model for American women of her own time, just like Diane Emmons. This brought forth the idea of having Sacagawea used to empower feminism. Today, we realize that this journey arguably brought more bad than good, especially to the Native Americans. But not even Sacagawea could have predicted it. She still remains a legend as well as a frontrunner for cultural heroines, celebrated with statues and even being put on the US dollar coin in 2000. She will hopefully be passed by other Native women to carry the torch of empowerment. Yet today, it is just her. But soon, there will be more.